On Thanksgiving, my sister said, "Your daughter's too sensitive." My son was just being honest, right after he dismissed her panic attack in front of the whole family. I said, "You're right. She's sensitive to disrespect." And we left. 3 hours later, my sister called 21 times, asking why her cards are not working. My name is Ryan. I'm 35, an older brother, a single dad, and the one who gets called when something breaks. In my family, I'm either the crypto guy or the weirdo with 6 screens. I trade for a living. Boring trades most days, not movie stuff. I wake up early, I read charts, I lock risk. I drink too much black coffee and keep spare HDMI cables in my glove box. That's me. In our family story, I'm background. My sister, Paige, is the main character. She's the golden one. Yearbook smile, loud laugh. Always has a point. My job is to make sure the point doesn't cost her anything. I have a daughter, Maya, 13. She's quick and literal and keeps her pencils in color order. She's also the bravest person I know. She has panic attacks, the real kind. We do therapy, we practice breathing, we have a plan. I carry mints and a small bottle of orange oil because scent helps her ground. I don't mind planning our lives around what keeps her safe. That's not weakness. That's parenting. Thanksgiving, like every year, was at my parents' place. Same table runner, same glass turkey candy dish, same rule. Don't argue with Paige because she says what everyone is thinking. I told Maya we would stay for an hour, maybe 90 minutes if everything was chill. She packed a book and a fidget ring. I packed patience. Paige arrived in a cream sweater and a voice that filled the kitchen. Her son, Caleb, 17, and always mid-smirk, brushed past me. "Sup, Uncle Bitcoin," he said, like he was patting a dog. He looked at Maya and added, "Still doing the hyperventilating cosplay, or is that cured?" Maya froze. I put a hand on her shoulder. "That's not it," I said calm. Paige laughed. "Oh, relax, he's just being honest. We don't do eggshells in this family." Dad stabbed the turkey like it had offended him and said, "Kids, toughen up. That's life." Mom slid a casserole toward me and whispered, "Can you cut this? Your wrists are stronger." I cut and counted Maya's breaths. 4 in, 7 hold, 8 out. We sat. Small talk happened. Football, interest rates, some jab at me about digital monopoly money. Caleb kept poking at Maya like she was a project. "So the nurse lets you skip class if you say panic? That's a cheat code." Smart. Maya's hands shook. Her fork clinked. She whispered, "Dad, I need the hallway." Eyes big, face pale. Paige tilted her head, all faux concern. "Your daughter's too sensitive," she announced to the table. My son was just being honest. A silence slid over the room. I stood. "You're right," I said, looking at Paige. "She's sensitive to disrespect." Dad's mouth flattened. Mom blinked. Caleb grinned like he'd won. "We're leaving," I said to Maya. No raised voice. No lecture. Just a decision. Maya stood. Her chair scraped. That small sound felt louder than the TV. Paige rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, dramatic exit." I helped Maya with her coat. We walked through the living room past the framed family photos. My own face was in a lot of them, slightly out of focus. I opened the door. Cold air. Quiet street. The sound of our shoes on the porch. "Sorry," Maya murmured. "No," I said. "You don't apologize for protecting yourself." We got in the car and drove away from the house where being honest meant aiming at the easiest target and calling it love. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't slam a door. I just picked my kid and left. That was the trigger. The rest came later. Blow-ups don't come from nowhere. They're layered. Small debts. Small digs. Small, just this once, favors that become systems. I grew up the default helper. When I was 12, I fixed the VCR with a paperclip. Dad said, "Finally good for something." When I was 22, I fixed their Wi-Fi after watching a 10-minute video. Paige posted a selfie with the caption, "Tech support rocks," and everyone thought she did it. Whatever. I didn't care then. At 27, I started making real money trading. Not yacht money. Stability money. I'd had 2 brutal years before that. Lost, learned, rebuilt with strict rules. By the time I could breathe, I made a decision. Spend on boring things. Therapy. Insurance. A 529 for Maya. Good tires. I didn't buy a watch. I bought dental work and a better mattress. Paige has always run hot. She has a big personality and a small attention span for anything that isn't her. She also has what she calls bad luck with bills. She texts when she's stuck at the register or when a payment didn't go through for some reason. The reasons look like brunch, but I was raised to be useful, so I pulled out my card. "Can you float rent just for a week?" Daycare doubled. It's insane. My car registration is due like today. It wasn't 1 week. It wasn't like today. It was the pattern. When Maya's panic started in 6th grade after a fire drill went sideways, Paige called it drama and Dad called it phase. I sat on the carpet with Maya and counted tiles with her for weeks. We met a therapist who talked to us like we were capable. We learned boxes, Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. I put the plans in my notes app. Paige rolled her eyes and said, "You're turning her into glass." Meanwhile, the money. Over 3 years, I ended up covering family stuff even when I didn't plan to. It looks like this when you list it. Family phone plan because I got a business discount. $178 per month for 4 extra lines. Total $6,408. Paige's power and gas, automatic for now, averaged $106 per month. Total $3,816. A temporary grocery card during lockdown that never quite closed. $200 per month average. Total $7,200. Random emergencies. A laptop for Caleb for school. $1,100. 2 car repairs that smelled like neglect. $650 plus $430. Late fees. $215. Could I afford it? Yes. That's why it took so long for me to set a boundary. When you can pay, people mistake ability for obligation. Last spring, Paige pitched me on investing in Caleb. Translation, private school tuition. She wrapped it in flattery. You're smart, you see value. This school is networking. It's basically like crypto, but for humans. I laughed. She sent the gap, number, $9,900. The word gap did a lot of work in that sentence. I'll cover 2 months, I said. You handle the rest. Paige sighed. So you don't believe in him. Mom texted separately. Your sister is doing her best. You always had it easier with your brain. Dad didn't text. He sent a thumbs down reaction, which felt like being booed by a stadium of one. It wasn't just Paige. My parents have a way of turning my wallet into a family policy. Dad wanted white shaker cabinets. Since you know money, what's a decent budget? I told him the range. He said, perfect. Then, put it on your card. We'll pay you back tax time. There was no timeline. There was no plan. There was just my card. Dad, I can't be your bank, I said. We never said you were. Mom said with hurt eyes, the ones that make you feel like you stole something. Then she added, we're family. We don't keep score. That line always means the score is very lopsided. I tried to change the system without having a war. In August, I sent a clear message with dates. On January 1st, I'm stepping back from these expenses. Phone plan, Paige's utilities autopay, grocery card. Plenty of time to switch. I even attached a PDF because I'm that guy. No one commented. Paige replied with a meme of a man rolling his eyes. Mom texted, we'll discuss at Thanksgiving. Meanwhile, with Maya, life kept moving. She had a panic episode at a birthday party. I picked her up. We sat in the car in the driveway for 12 minutes with the radio low. She apologized. I told her you don't apologize for having a brain. We ate cereal on the couch and watched people assemble tiny houses on YouTube. She slept fine that night. Progress looks boring from the outside. It's not. 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, Paige called me from a grocery store, breathless but not in the panic way, more in the late for Pilates way. Food prices are insane. You'll cover the big shop, right? I'll send you the cart list. What's the total? I asked. Don't be tacky, she said. It's family. What's the total? I repeated. She said, it evens out. It does not. I said, text me a number if you want me involved. She said, forget it. You're impossible, and hung up dramatically enough that I could hear the case click. I told Maya we'd stay at Thanksgiving for an hour. I charged the rescue meds. I checked the exits. I told myself I could handle whatever came. I was wrong about one thing. I thought the worst would be money. It wasn't. It was the line about my kid being too sensitive, spoken like a toast. People will tell you he's a teenager, like that's a personality. They will use honesty as cover fire. And if you've paid enough bills, they'll assume you'll pay for the insult, too. That's the problem I'd built without seeing it. My willingness turned into permission. Their comfort turned into policy. Maya turned into collateral. So when Paige smiled and said it, your daughter's too sensitive, my son was just being honest. It landed on a pile of receipts. Not just financial ones. Emotional ones. Years of them. I didn't flip the table. I didn't deliver a speech. I helped my kids stand up. Then I left the room where my brotherhood was measured in how quietly I could fund their bad habits and absorb their loud opinions. We drove home with the radio low. Maya kept the air vent on her face. Am I in trouble? She asked at a red light. No, I said. You're in a car with your dad. We're going home. That's the opposite of trouble. She nodded once. Her breathing loosened. That small victory felt bigger than anything we could have done at that table. At home, we did our routine. Warm shower, soft hoodie, weighted blanket. I put on a boring baking show. I sat next to her, feet on the coffee table, and waited for her nervous system to decide the house was safe. She fell asleep halfway through a segment about caramel. I muted the TV and stared at my phone lighting up the room. Missed calls, texts, family group chat going off. Mom, you embarrassed us. Dad, always a scene with you. Paige, Caleb was joking. You're raising a porcelain doll. Then, a separate text from Paige. Also, why isn't the grocery card going through? This is unreal. I looked at the time. 9:17 p.m. I looked at the calendar. November. I looked at the PDF I'd sent in August about January 1st. Something clicked into place. Not anger, just clarity. I wasn't going to wait for January. I wasn't going to announce another deadline for everyone to ignore. I was going to do what I should have done months ago, in the systems I had built. I opened my laptop at the kitchen table and logged into the accounts I know too well. Family phone plan, for extra lines besides mine and Maya's. Port mom and dad to a separate temporary account in their names, prepaid for 60 days. Remove Paige and Caleb at midnight. Send them the carrier's number to open their own. Utilities auto pay for Paige. Cancel auto pay, screenshot account numbers, and due dates, email them. Zero the balance. Grocery card, close. Pay it off. Screenshot final statement. I typed a message I wouldn't be ashamed to read out loud. No threats. No insults. Just facts and a boundary. I sent it at 9:41 p.m. I put my phone face down. At 10:03 p.m., Paige started calling. Then calling again. And again. 21 calls in 3 hours. In between, one-liners. Why are my cards not working? Answer your phone. This is financial abuse. Mom says you're being cruel. Grow up. Seriously answer. I answered once at 10:44 p.m. What did you do? Paige demanded. I could hear the beeps of a self-checkout. The thing I said I would do, I said. I have a cart full of food, she said. I look insane. You said it evens out, I said. It doesn't. Caleb needs lunch tomorrow, she shouted. Then pay with your card, I said. It's maxed, she snapped, then tried to swallow the words. Because of the holidays, she added quickly. I'm not your credit limit, I said. I'm your brother. You're a monster, she hissed. And your daughter. If you say one more word about my kid, I said, voice low, we're done for a long time. Silence. Then she hung up. At 11:12 p.m., I wrote in the family chat. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. I've paid for a lot of things quietly. I'm done doing it quietly, or at all. I've set up a 60-day bridge for mom and dad to move their lines. Paige, I sent you all your utility logins and due dates. Going forward, respect is the price of admission to me and Maya. If you can't pay it, you don't get in. Then I put the phone in a drawer and went to sleep on the couch in case Maya woke up scared. She didn't. We both slept. That felt like the first sign I'd done the right thing. Morning looked normal. Oatmeal, school hoodie, bus alarm. Maya stirred her oatmeal with exactly 6 blueberries like she always does. Are we going to Grandma's later? She asked, testing the air. Not today, I said. We'll do our own dessert. She nodded, small relief in her shoulders. Can we make brownies? Box or from scratch? I asked. Box, she said. I like the back of the box kind. Same. By 10 a.m., my phone was a museum of reactions. Mom wrote 3 paragraphs about grace and not making women cry at holidays. Dad wrote, be a man. Paige sent bursts. You humiliated me. You stranded me. Caleb thinks you're unhinged. Why are my texts green? Because her line moved. Then a final. You owe us at least a conversation. I sent one email with the subject line, account details plus next steps. Bullet points. Screenshots. Dates. The $0 grocery card balance. The 60-day credit on my parents' new phone plan. The utilities login for Paige. A short paragraph. I've paid $19,819 over the last 36 months for family expenses. That was my choice. My new choice is to fund Maya's needs and my own future. If you can talk respectfully about me and to Maya, we can be in each other's lives. If not, we step back. I hit send and closed the laptop. At lunchtime, Paige called again. I answered because I didn't want this to become a never-ending ringing sound in my head. I can't believe you wrote numbers in an email, she said. Who does that? Someone who's done ignoring them, I said. You love control, she spit. You've always loved it. Now you're using your kid as a shield. I'm using boundaries, I said. And I'm protecting my kid. She needs to learn the world won't baby her, Paige said. Caleb was teaching her how to take a joke. She doesn't need your son as a teacher, I said. Especially not on Thanksgiving. She'll grow up soft, Paige warned. She'll grow up safe, I said. That's my job. Paige went quiet for a beat, then tried a new angle. Mom's been crying. Dad says you're ungrateful. They're old. You can't do this to them. I set them up with 60 days paid and clear instructions, I said. That's more courtesy than I got last night. You're punishing me because I said what everyone thinks, she snapped. No, I said. I'm stepping back because you said it to a 13-year-old. She accused me of loving drama. I told her I love quiet. I ended the call. The group chat slowed to a simmer. Mom posted a photo of the table and wrote, "We saved your seats." It almost worked on me. I felt the pull of a familiar script. Swallow it. Show up. Pay. Pretend. I looked at Maya reading on the couch with her penguin bookmark and felt the pull snap. I wrote back, "Thank you. Not today." In the days after, the real work began. Teaching the family how to live without my autopay. Paige texted, "The electric company is being impossible." I replied with the same two things, the login link, and "You've got this." She sent a string of crying laughing emojis. "Then you're so smug." I didn't take the bait. Dad called to say his voicemail wasn't set up on the new carrier. I walked him through it step by step. At the end, he muttered, "You think you're better than us." "No," I said. "I think I'm allowed to be separate from you." He grunted. It was almost a concession. I started using the time I wasn't spending on other people's bills on our life. Tiny things. I made a spreadsheet for Maya's braces fund and set an automatic transfer. I booked her a spot in a small Saturday art group that doesn't overwhelm her. I started batch cooking on Sundays, so school mornings weren't chaotic. None of that was glamorous. All of it felt like air. On the second Sunday, I printed 2 lists and taped them inside the pantry door. Title, "What We Do." Another, "What We Don't Do." What we do. Therapy Tuesdays. Say what's true quickly. 15-minute walks after dinner. Ask for help before it's an emergency. What we don't do. Earn love with money. Stay where we're insulted. Call cruelty honesty. Apologize for panic. Maya drew little boxes next to each line so we could check them off. She colored the title in purple. She put a tiny penguin at the bottom. "Mascot," she said. I nodded. "We're a 2-person team with a penguin now. Works for me." Paige tried one more play the following week. She texted, "We're not coming to Maya's winter recital if you keep the phone thing. Caleb needs his line." I replied, "That's your choice. 60-day window for mom and dad stays. Your line is your responsibility." She wrote, "You used to be generous." I wrote, "I'm still generous. Just not with you." It wasn't spite. It was clarity. And clarity feels mean to people who are used to you being foggy. By the 3rd week, the noise dropped. No one had died because they were in charge of their own utilities. Caleb still had a number. He just had to ask his mother for it. My parents figured out how to pay a phone bill. The kitchen cabinets didn't magically appear. The world kept turning. Inside our little house, the air felt different. Lighter. Maya laughed more, which might just be time passing, but I'm taking the win. She started leaving her door open again at night. She asked if we could invite 2 kids over for board games. We did. They ate too many pretzels. They left their socks in the hallway. It felt like exactly the right kind of messy. There were still hard moments. Mom called once and tried to reopen the old argument. "We don't keep score," she said. "I did," I said. "I kept it privately for 3 years. Now I'm playing a new game. You'll regret this," she warned. "I already regret waiting this long," I said. She hung up. Then she texted a photo of the dog in a sweater. "We are complicated." At some point in late December, Paige sent a single line. "You really won't turn my line back on?" I wrote back, "Correct." She replied, "Wow. Then, fine." Then nothing for a week. During that week, Maya and I baked 3 boxes of brownies, watched 2 entire seasons of a show about tiny houses, and took 4 evening walks where we rated holiday lights on a 10-point scale. Our favorite was a crooked reindeer with 1 light out. Maya gave it a 9 for effort. Space filled with our own life isn't empty. It's quiet enough to hear yourself think. That was the real aftermath. I could hear my kids' jokes, the boiling kettle, the dryer buzzer, my own breath. The sound missing was the one I used to call family and now recognized as a demand. Closure didn't look like a perfect apology or a dramatic reunion. It looked like small, steady adjustments. On New Year's Day, the phone plan fully rolled off my card. I didn't make a speech. I moved money from family spillover to Maya future. I made a note to check the 529 in March. Boring things. Good things. A few days later, Paige sent an email, not a text, subject line, about Thanksgiving. She wrote, I said awful things about Maya. I thought I was making her tougher. I was making myself feel superior. I'm sorry. It wasn't flowery. It wasn't perfect. There was also a paragraph about how hard her year had been, which I didn't need, but okay. She asked if we could meet at a park. No Caleb. No Mom. Just her and us. We went. She looked smaller without an audience. She sat on a cold bench and told Maya, not me. I won't joke about your panic again. I didn't understand. I'm trying. Maya squeezed her fidget ring and said, okay. That was more generous than I would have been at 13. Paige asked me, so we're good. I said, we're better. Good takes time. She nodded. For once, she didn't try to fast forward the scene. Progress. Mom and Dad are slower. They send photos of the dog, the weather, the half-finished kitchen. Dad still makes comments about real money. Mom still writes family first in cards. I send hope you're well and mean it, but from a porch that belongs to me. The moral is simple enough to fit on our pantry door. I'm not a bank. I'm not a cushion. I'm not a stagehand for other people's spotlight. I'm a dad. I'll pay for braces, therapy, good shoes, and art supplies. I'll pay for our roof, our tires, and Maya's college if that's her path. I won't pay to be spoken to like a vending machine. I won't pay for adults to call cruelty, honesty, and debt bad luck. The new price of admission is respect. If you can pay it, you're in. If you can't, you're out. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. I said it once in a group chat. Now I live it. It looks like brownies on a Tuesday and a penguin drawn on a pantry list. It looks like a 13-year-old sleeping through the night. It looks like a quiet house that doesn't run on my fear of disappointing anyone. We're not finished. Boundaries aren't a one-time action. They're a language you keep speaking. But we're fluent enough to get through dinner without apologizing for breathing. That's the ending. Not loud, not glamorous, just solid. My name is Ryan. I trade boring. I parent on purpose. I keep receipts. And I don't fund disrespect, no matter how honest someone says they're being.